State your name for the record.
Wade Barnes, February 2018, the door blows off the hinges. Something unexplainable was going on. Dripping never stops. Is Molly dead? I ran up those stairs faster than I think I ever have or ever will again. Dripping in the basement, dripping down the window. Dripping never stops.
Something unnatural happened here.
Ceiling fan pouring out water. At that point, I wasn't thinking of what could possibly be haunting the house. I was just thinking of saving it. It's not natural here.
Your house is a gateway for some greater evil to be born in this world.
We thought that it was all over. What Molly and I didn't know was that the real nightmare was just beginning.
What can he do? Where can he go from here? Who can he turn to for help? Is it possible that no one is around to help him? Oh yes, more possible than you think. But the story doesn't end just because no one is around to hear it. The story continues. The cruelty continues. The watery demise continues. And it shall continue until every mote of hope is washed away.
Night of January 31st into the day of February 1st, all of the damage was done. A water mitigation company was sent out. We thought was gonna fix everything. They brought in fans to dry out the ceiling. They punctured holes in the floor and put tubes in to dry out the walls. And we thought, okay, they'll give it a few days and then, maybe by the weekend, the following weekend, February 8th, they'll be in here to repair everything. February 8th came and went. February 15th, the 22nd, into March, all the way into April, with no help in sight until April 15th. Finally, salvation was at hand. Someone was here to put all of this behind us. Or so we thought. When they showed up, we felt their incompetence from the start. It was a little weird that they weren't replacing the drywall. Basically, the vibe I got was, well, anything could be fixed with enough mud. That didn't seem quite right. So true to their word, mud was the solution. They scrape it all along the seam and they gave it a day to dry. They came back the next day with a slightly bigger piece of metal, scraped it along the seam, gave it a day to dry. Now I've been told this is standard procedure for how mudding works. The problem was they were mudding bad drywall. All said and done, they wrapped up the final layer of mud on a Thursday, and then on Friday they came in and they sanded it down to the point where they could paint. And they told us Monday they would come in, they'd spend about 4 or 5 hours painting, and they'd be done. Finally, this would be done. And then the cracks started forming. And on Monday morning they showed up, they looked at the ceiling, and the cracks in the ceiling, and they said, well, maybe it needs more mud. We gave up on this company being competent. We called some people that had already come to our house and worked on stuff in the past, and we told them what was going on. And the first thing they said was, did they replace the drywall? No, they didn't replace the drywall. So while we were waiting on the other company to be able to come in and help us, we had an event going on. Pivot.
So Gar and I and Marie and Ellie, we all arrived at Wade's house. I believe it was early Thursday morning. We got there before the whole rest of the group got there, and we were all there for Pivot.
May 17th, I believe was the date. We had to call a plumber into the house because that toilet also would not flush.
We ended up using the restroom, and I noticed that the toilet got backed up. So I mentioned to Wade, I believe the next day the plumber ended up coming out. I believe he said it was something like a piece or some of the part of the chain inside the toilet wasn't fixed. Regardless, the plumber said that should all be good.
But that toilet and this house were far from done with us.
So I get there Friday evening, toilet's working fine, no issues again. I'm sleeping directly under this toilet.
May 18th, I found this out later. JP, who was staying with us, woke up, opens his eyes, stretches, looks at the ceiling, and says to himself, is that yellow ring supposed to be there?
I wake up and there is a huge water stain on the ceiling. I mean, I'm not talking like a little bit of a water damage at all. I'm talking like an actual bubble that was a little bit sinking in the middle.
But rushing to get ready so we wouldn't be late to the event, he neglected to mention it to me until later that night. And I don't know if it's coincidence or irony or what to call it, but we decided to celebrate a good day out by watching scary stuff on TV. Top 5 horror this, top 5 haunted this. And as we wrapped up and all got ready for bed, JP turned on the light in his room. And not only was there a yellow ring on the ceiling, but the ceiling was sagging. And he said, "Oh yeah, meant to tell you about that earlier. Kind of forgot. But I think there's something wrong."
I completely forget to tell him. Honestly, my bad on that. Probably should have told him.
So upon seeing a very familiar sight of a water damaged ceiling, and I felt around the yellow portion to see if it was still dry or wet.
Wade's like on my air mattress trying to feel it, but he's only touching the outside.
JP decided to do the same thing, but instead of feeling around with his hand, he took a single finger and went right for the center of the ring.
And then he just bounced on his bed and boop.
I go right for the middle because that's just what I do. Water is just flowing out and I am just sitting there taking it. I do not question life at that moment.
The house soiled all over him.
We all just stood there, shocked.
I was probably standing there for easily like 10 seconds just letting water flow on me.
All over his bed, all over all of his possessions. But thankfully this time it spared the floor, so I guess there was a bright side for us, but not for poor JP.
So, what you're saying is, JP was literally covered with shit.
It didn't smell terrible. I thought it was clean. However, it turns out it was actually really poopy water.
Yeah, it was shit. The only thing I could think of is why? Why? What is causing this? What bad karma did I bring? What could be doing this to us? And why?
I sense that there was some other problem nearby.
Everywhere. Kitchen sink had to be replaced. That bathroom was a mess. The room right...
There's a greater problem that lies in that room, isn't there?
Yeah, I guess we'll walk over there. Also, hi there. I haven't said anything to you since you're just holding the camera. But...
Don't look at them.
Okay.
Are you a professional or not?
No, I'm just a homeowner. This was the air mattress that my friend was on.
Someone got shot. On right here.
Yeah, the ceiling had a big ring on it, and we felt around it. I felt around it, and the yellowed part was dry, but it was still like a white bulging center. And he put his finger right through it, and yeah, he got shat on pretty badly.
He's dead now, isn't he? Anyway, what are you doing on your phone?
I was making sure he was alive.
Now is not the time to text.
Okay. That still wasn't...
Move.
Well, it was all the toilet's fault that this room got messy. That's why he got shat on, was the toilet.
Was it the toilet? Or was it the people on the toilet?
I mean, Patrick could have taken like a mammoth shit, I guess, and broken the pipe.
Who's Patrick? There's only one possible way to get to the bottom of this. You have any candles?
I got like the battery powered kind. I have a little battery powered lantern.
You
We have
don't
a
even
lighter?
have real candles. What happens when those batteries run out?
Real candles are kind of expensive, and we spent a lot of money on the...
Batteries are kind of expensive, you know? And they have dangerous chemicals inside of them that cause problems for the environment.
Yeah, but we didn't
Real
buy...
candles
These were gifts.
are sustainable.
I-
You know, the world's largest candle, you know how long they would burn for?
I don't.
40 years.
But we didn't buy...
You think that's gonna run
these.
out?
They were
Name me a
gifts.
battery that lasts 40 years.
Isn't Energizer like...
It's called a candle. Go get your battery candles.
Alright. Do you want the lantern?
Yeah, I'll do that. There's something behind you. So, this is in May. It's no longer cold. So, frozen pipes has been eliminated off of the list of causes.
Yeah, Sunday we couldn't get anybody out, so Monday a plumber came in, cut another big hole in the ceiling, and said that one of the pipes was dripping. That sometimes this happens. Maybe some of the sealant around where the two pipes connect wore off. He said he had to take the toilet off, cut out a section of pipe, and replace it. But just like the first company that came out to fix the ceiling, the first attempt to fix the pipe under the toilet wasn't successful. The very next day, I have to call the plumber again because the pipe has little drop of water, and it drips. And another drop of water, and it drips. And I cannot stand the sight, the sound, the thought of another drop. But there it was, and I could not believe it. So I called them and I told them the pipe was still leaking. So they came out, they cut out the part of the pipe that they had replaced, and they replaced it again with a different kind of pipe. I'm not sure the different terminology, but for some reason this was a more secure fix. Why didn't they do that the first time? I don't know. Are we gonna play a board game?
Of a sort. Have you ever heard the Ouija?
No, I think it's Ouija.
No, it's not Ouija.
Oh.
What is this, Mario? You stupid fool. It's
That's
Ouija.
Louis.
No, ancient Roman. This is how we commune with those who lie beyond. The only way to get the answers you seek is to ask the right question. So,
Am I done having house problems?
stop. Get your hand off the Ouija.
Okay.
Don't ask stupid questions or you'll get deadly answers.
So by this time, our friends are gone, the dip's over, and the house is just Molly and me and the pets. We called our friends who had built my office for me, done the repairs, and they were supposed to come and do the drywalling, not only for the living room now, but for the room JP had stayed in. They came out, they tore out the drywall immediately. They said that should have been done the first time, and they put up brand new drywall. And after they're done, the painter's supposed to come out. 9 o'clock in the morning, I open the double doors that lead into the room where JP was staying. And my heart dropped again. The ceiling was sagging. There was a dark gray line, several of them. And there was a drip, and a drip, and another one, and a big wet spot on the carpet. Again. So while the painters worked on the living room, I had the same plumbing company come out, not the first time, not the second time, not even the third time, but a fourth time. And this time they came out, they cut a hole in the ceiling, but the pipe was fine. They walk up the stairs, they look at the toilet whose innards they'd worked on the very first time they came out. And somehow, some way, the bolts, there are 3 bolts in the big tank that sits on the back of the toilet. Those bolts had come loose, and water was dripping from the tank of the toilet onto the floor and seeping into the floorboards, into the wall, and haunting us yet again on the main floor.
Now, think very carefully. What do you want to ask this spirit that's been haunting your house, your home?
What'll it take for you to leave?
Excellent question. Now, close your eyes. Feel the spirit course through your veins. It's moving. It's moving. Do you feel it?
T?
Where's it going?
A?
Hey. Tangible. Tangible benefits. Tangents.
C?
See, tact. Taciturn.
O? Taco? Tacobi? Tacos? Tacos?
Tacos.
4 tacos? I fucking knew this thing only wanted tacos. I would have bought some.
This isn't working. Just think of a yes or no question to ask this geist.
Will you leave without the tacos? Fast forward all the way to June 8th now. From February 1st to June 8th. Our company comes out that built my office and they start ripping out the drywall. And finally, as they're ripping out the old and putting in the new, the pieces are finally being put back together. And while the inside of our house is being put back together, the outside decided to go on a full-out rebellion. June 18th, the day before our painters are scheduled to arrive, Molly yells for me, runs into the room I'm in and says, "You need to come see this." preparing myself for yet another disaster in the house. I follow her, but she doesn't go to a ceiling, she doesn't go to a room, she goes to a window. And when I looked out the window, I had seen a sight I have never seen before, nor do I expect to ever really see again. You ever seen a whirlpool form in your street?
Attacked from all sides. No escape, nowhere to run. The very elements themselves are setting themselves against this poor soul. What's to be done? Can any of us help him? Yes, actually, we can help him indeed. Here I have the designs of a very special t-shirt, a commemorative moment in Wade's suffering, for us all to remember this sordid tale. By purchasing this shirt, not only will you immortalize the moment of his peak suffering, but also all proceeds will go to help this poor sod in paying for a new roof, and new pipes, and a new toilet, and a new bathtub. He needs a lot of new things. Everything seems to be infested with demons. Frankly, he should probably just burn the whole house down and then start over fresh. But considering that's probably not an option, at least we can remember this moment forever.